we're back again.
The last thing that I wanted to do was another video of me screaming at the clouds like a grumpy old bastard, but god damn it, Warner Brothers, you're not making this easy for me at all.
Do you happen to know Miller?
Who?
Miller.
Why?
Mr. Prince, you don't have to worry. Anyone that comes here and tells the truth has got nothing to worry about.
Which Miller? When you say no, I mean, you know, can you ever really know a person? I think, you know, I grew up with a Miller, but do I know him? Would you say, do I know him? Can you know, in the biblical sense, know him?
Ladies and gentlemen and others, welcome to my channel. I just want to warn you right up front that I'm only getting off my soapbox so I can get on my high horse, look down on all of you and spit in your eye. And if any of that turned you on, I will leave my personal details below so you can DM me. Before we go any further, I just want to point out to you that I'll be sprinkling in a whole lot of allegedlys all throughout this entire video. That's not because any of the claims that I'm making are factually incorrect. It's because American companies are famously litigious.
You actually were telling the truth.
I do that quite a lot, yet people are always surprised.
So we're going to be talking about Ezra Miller and their antics over the past couple of years and why most critics seem to be taking the approach of shrugging their shoulders and going, Ezra Miller is such a scam, instead of acknowledging that there are real victims and real damage has been caused by their actions over the past couple of years. The sad truth is most people are very happy to separate art from artists. It enables us to enjoy that thing that we like doing without needing to feel guilty about that pleasure that we get out of our entertainment. Today I'm making the case that we shouldn't do that at all. Everyone knows that I'm a huge Flash fan. I probably have 4 t-shirts hanging in my cupboard right now as we speak. And even these many years later, my ex still refers to me as the fastest man alive when she speaks to her friends about me. My Flash was Barry Allen, the Silver Age Flash. In the 1990s, the Flash took the jump into live action with a TV series starring John Wesley Shipp. Although looking back at it now, obviously the VFX just aren't up to scratch. However, the TV series was fantastic in terms of portraying the Flash as a superhero character. The Barry Allen of the TV series was as good as the Flash in the comic books had been. Fast forward into the 2000s and the character was rebooted again as a Barry Allen that was part of the Arrowverse on the CW. This time I did not have much hope for the character because after all it was a CW. And secondly, the suit also looked like this. One thing that I couldn't complain about was Grant Gustin's casting as the Flash though. He makes a fantastic Barry Allen. When the Justice League came around as a DCEU, I just automatically expected that they would cast him again for it, and I was quite disappointed when they cast Ezra Miller. Now I just want to mention that I really don't like the Ezra Miller version of Barry Allen. Ezra Miller's portrayal of Barry Allen shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what that character is all about. The twitchy, annoying, grating way that he acts is simply just not what Barry Allen is in the comic books or anywhere else. Anyway, that's the person that we're stuck with, and Warner Brothers seems to be very intent on making this the only Barry Allen. But why though? I'm sure all of us are wondering after all of this time, what makes this guy so special? Why is he being given this treatment where a lot of other people have been cancelled for less?
You can't treat him like any of the other niggas around here because he ain't like any of the other niggas around here. You got it?
Why on earth is Warner Brothers insisting that we treat Ezra Miller different than anybody else? In fact, Warner Brothers have doubled down on it. Not only are they insisting that they should be treated differently, but they've also insisted that if we watch this movie, our minds will be changed completely and we will completely forget all the horrible shit that's happened over the past couple of years. So, in case Warner Brothers is correct about that, how about I just remind you about all of the stuff that happened over the past couple of years?
You better walk away. Go on, walk away, because I'm going to burn this motherfucker down. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Being a weird weirdo isn't a crime, but the following things are. On 23 July in 2017, Ezra Miller was joking around with fans at San Diego Comic-Con. After a fan pointed out that the Flash couldn't get drunk due to his metabolic rate, another fan jokingly asked Ezra Miller to smell his breath just to be sure. Miller responded by kissing the fan on the mouth without any clear consent, as was caught on camera. On April 1, 2020, Miller was shown choking a woman and throwing her to the ground at Prokio Cafe House, a bar in Reykjavik, Iceland. This 7-second clip was put out on Twitter on April 6 and shows a person saying, "Oh, you want to fight? That's what you want to do?" to a woman in the bar. The fan obviously thought that Ezra Miller was joking, however, it soon turned very, very serious. Miller grabbed the woman by the throat and threw her to the ground. On January 28, 2022, Ezra Miller first politely did a wellness check on the North Carolina chapter of the Ku Klux Klan, before then telling them, and I quote, to kill themselves with their own guns, or else we will do it for you if that's what you want. That video went viral on social media. On 27 March 2022, Miller was arrested in Hawaii and charged with disorderly conduct and harassment following a physical confrontation with patrons at a karaoke bar. Allegedly, Miller became agitated while patrons began singing a karaoke rendition of "Shallow" from A Star Is Born. Miller was arrested and then released on bail. 2 days later, on 29 March 2022, the couple who lived with Miller at the hostel filed a restraining order against the actor. These were the same people that actually bailed out Ezra Miller. Allegedly, after the incident at the karaoke bar, the couple claimed that Miller returned home and threatened the couple by saying, and I quote, "I will bury you and your slut wife." The couple also alleged that Miller stole the wife's passport and the husband's wallet, which contained his credit cards, social security card, and driver's license. A judge granted the couple the restraining order the following day, but that order was dropped in mid-April. Just 3 weeks later, on 19 April 2022, the actor was again taken into custody in Hawaii, this time for allegedly throwing a chair which hit a woman. The 26-year-old woman sustained a half-inch cut on her forehead. Miller was later arrested by the Hawaiian police, but released on the same day pending further investigation. On May 16, 2022, music producer Oliver Ignatius and rapper Guys Guevara claimed that Miller stole the music they worked on and posted it on social media without credits. On 8 June 2022, the parents of 18-year-old activist Gibson Iron Eyes accuses Miller of grooming their child. Gibson and Miller met at a protest in 2016 when Miller was 25 and Gibson was only 14. Gibson's parents allege that Miller tried to sleep in the same bed as Gibson and provided her with alcohol, marijuana, and LSD. Gibson's parents claim, and again I quote, Ezra uses violence, intimidation, threat of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over young adolescent Tokata. On 16 June 2022, the Daily Beast published a report speaking with an alleged victim of Miller, a 12-year-old non-binary child who alleged that they were targeted by Miller. The child and their mother were granted a temporary harassment prevention order against Miller. On 23 June 2022, a Rolling Stone investigation revealed that a 25-year-old woman and her 3 children, ages 1 to 5, have been living with Ezra Miller on his Vermont farm. The father of the children characterized the situation as worrying. Allegedly, Miller's home has unattended guns strewn across a living room and mature marijuana plants growing on the property. On 30 June 2022, a woman identified as Nadia alleges to Variety that Miller harassed her in Germany in February 2022. She alleges that she was worried that the actor could somehow attack her physically after she told him they couldn't smoke in her home that night. On 8 August 2022, the Vermont State Police confirmed that Miller has been charged with felony burglary into an unoccupied dwelling in Stamford, Vermont. After a review of surveillance videos and statements, Miller was issued a citation on August 7. I think we can all agree, though, that the worst atrocity that Ezra Miller committed was what they did to Rihanna's song. Which brings us up to now, where Ezra Miller has successfully either made some of the charges go away, or they have successfully managed to organize plea deals. However, nothing in their behavior actually indicates any intention to change their behavior in the future at all. I mean, really, why would they? They managed to get away with it despite those pesky kids. Look, we all know how the world works. Rich and powerful people get away with stuff all the time. However, is it really too much to expect for anybody, to give Ezra Miller a reality check?
Welcome to Earth.
Before I even start the deep dive on this whole situation, I first want to address the hypocrisy that seems to be inherent in society. Let's take the situation where a 50-something-year-old Hollywood elite abuses his power to hit on a 20-something-year-old. Just compare how society and the media react to that when it's somebody like Harvey Weinstein versus the way that society and media react when it's somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Jack, I want you to like one of your French girls.
All I'm saying is that the level of condemnation seems to be inversely proportional to the level of attractiveness of the person accused of the act. Another thing that I take issue with is the fact that the media keeps on referring to it as controversies. This is a disingenuous and or chicken shit way of referring to somebody assaulting somebody else. A controversy is whether you add pineapple to pizza or not. I'm pretty sure we can all agree that assaulting somebody is illegal. As the meme goes, we live in a society. And as a society, we've all agreed to abide by certain rules. Murder is wrong. Assault is wrong. Piracy is wrong. These rules help us to get along with one another. Just bear all of those in mind because we'll be circling back to it as we go along. Ultimately, I would really like it if we could all just be bros and if we can treat society like the door. So even if there is space on the door, we should just let them sink into the sweet, dark oblivion of death.
Does this make you uncomfortable? Because if so, there's no shame in calling it quits.
The other argument that is made is that this is a slippery slope because this is cancel culture. If we keep on doing this, then soon we won't have anything left to enjoy at all.
No more, let's clone another goat. And certainly no more sexual harassment suits. What's wrong with saying, hey, nice tits? When did that go out the window?
And the argument is that you don't like this thing and therefore you don't want to see it and therefore you want to cancel it. I'm not advocating for that at all. What I'm advocating for is a certain level of responsibility for actions. I was a lot younger when I first engaged with the world of Harry Potter and I basically knew nothing about J.K. Rowling. Everything that I found out about her just made me admire her for overcoming all the adversity she had to get the book out there. But those days of being uninformed are long gone. We are constantly bombarded with information, whether we like it or not. We find out everything about these creative people, these fantastic artists that we admire, and sometimes we find out more than we need to. All I'm saying is, if you don't know, you don't know. Then feel free to enjoy whatever strikes your fancy. However, if you have become informed about an artist and that they're really an absolute garbage person, maybe just take a minute to consider whether you can still engage with their work in the same way. Fairness, you should acknowledge that you might be complicit in ignoring the damage that was done to the victims of the artist. My kids were pretty small when those books first came out, so I had no problem at all taking them to the movies and watching those movies with them and enjoying the books with them because the world was entertaining. The year since, J.K. Rowling has started running her mouth, and the stuff that's come out of her mouth is pretty negative and bad for a lot of people. This leaves me conflicted with regards to how I will approach her work in future, and whether I can have the same enjoyment with that work with my youngest son. He's a little kid, so he doesn't get to choose, I do. And the truth is, a little kid doesn't need to know anything about transgender issues or J.K. Rowling's views on it. A little kid should be allowed to enjoy a book. A little kid should be allowed to enjoy a game. A little kid should be allowed to enjoy a movie. And this is where I sit with that conflict, because I'm not a little kid, I'm an adult. The internal conflict that I feel about the Harry Potter world is not centered around whether the books have suddenly become bad, because objectively they aren't. Nor is my conflict around whether J.K. Rowling is a bad person, because objectively she is.
It is not our abilities that show what we truly are. It is our choices.
My conflict is around the fact that if I were to engage with the media, then I am not only giving her money and profit, but I'm also tacitly endorsing her completely unforgivable viewpoints. There also seems to be a perception that one can separate the art from the artist a lot easier if the art actually is really, really good. It's a bizarre and strange kind of belief that just because something is visually interesting or aesthetically pleasing or emotionally connected with us, that we can then go ahead and forgive the horrible person that actually created the artwork. A great work of art doesn't lose its artistic merit just because we've become more aware of the person who's created the artwork. The only thing that changes when we become more informed is that we put ourselves in a position where we have to make a decision. Is it possible for us to ethically engage with the artwork? Now, we all know that there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. No matter what the product, somewhere along the line, we've done damage to the world to deliver that product to you. I like educating people, so please enjoy the fact that's on your screen right now. Over 400 million pus cells are allowed in 1 liter of milk before it's considered unfit for human consumption. When I didn't know this, I really liked milk. Now that I do know this, I still have no problem consuming milk. You want to know why? It's because I just don't care. Which takes us full circle back to, if you didn't know all of the facts about the things that Ezra Miller has done, then you can be excused for still consuming whatever gets put out by him and the corporations that back him. However, if you do know, if you have been informed, if you know how heinous the shit is, it's time for you to be honest and admit you know, but you just don't care. Here's a bunch of people that hated the Jews due to, racism. Walt Disney, Adolf Hitler, Mel Gibson, and Kanye West. Allegedly. Of course, only 2 of them created great art, so they're easier to forgive. And of course, Hitler did that whole genocide thing, so that does make him a little bit more difficult to forgive. We're of course talking about very different things here. Should that influence the ease with which we separate art from artist? Obviously, the levels of hatred and crime against humanity is vastly different in each case. However, somebody does need to pay for making us all sit through the She-Hulk TV series. I want to cut Kanye West some slack, but I can't. The man was literally falling apart in front of us, going through severe mental issues. Kanye West has a history of these issues in the past. However, the reason why I can't cut him any slack is the same reason why I won't forgive somebody who becomes racist when they get drunk. You were thinking that stuff all the time. The only reason why you didn't is because your brain was chemically altered to stop you from saying those things that you were thinking.
What? No. No, man, we're not.
All this to say that I have all the sympathy in the world for somebody going through severe mental issues. However, in the case of Ezra Miller, no, I'm sorry, you don't get to hide behind that whenever it's convenient. Of course, another part of it is also our own identity. Society and pop culture has just become such that we build part of what our identity is on the things that we actually consume. This is the thing that I enjoy, this is the thing I identify with. And if we like a certain thing and we find out that there is an ethical question with that specific thing, it is easier for us to cling to our identity of the thing we like than to admit that possibly maybe the thing we like has been tainted. That is why most people are happy to separate the art from the artist. Not doing so forces us to reassess our own identity as it is attached to that particular media that we like.
We are who we choose to be. Now choose!
Warner Brothers' whole attitude seems to be, we're putting entertainment in front of you. Shut up and enjoy the movie. What are you complaining about? And just realize that as far as corporations are concerned, there's just no line that they won't cross. They have no qualms in excusing the most evil misdeeds that have been perpetrated as long as they can keep on making a profit.
Hello, I like money.
And as long as the viewing public keeps on consuming whatever they put out, we keep on sending them the message that this is actually okay. So just ask yourself exactly how much am I willing to put up with as long as I'm being entertained? Where do I draw the line?
Okay, all right, so that's where we'll draw the line.
There's no reason why Ezra Miller should be treated different from anybody else on this plantation. Warner Brothers has blatantly chosen profits over principles. It seems that money speaks louder than their conscience, so therefore the only way to make them hear it is to take that money away. So if Warner Brothers is so happy to just dispense with ethics or morality, then I think we are allowed to do exactly the same thing. There can be no ethical or moral objection to anybody just pirating this movie. So I will see you all on the high seas. So, thank you, Ezra Miller. Thank you, Warner Brothers. And thank you, every Hollywood executive that enables this kind of egregious shit through your actions or your inactions. You've managed to take a movie that I should have been super excited to watch, and you've made it into something that in all good conscience I don't think I'll ever see, irrespective of any piracy jokes that I might have made in this video. At least I can take solace in the fact that from all indications it looks like I'm not the only one.
And furthermore, you can all go fuck yourselves.
If you made it this far, you are a champion and an absolute legend. Please give me a like, share and subscribe down below if you think I said anything of worth. However, if you don't feel like doing it, that's absolutely fine, because after all, you did listen all the way to the end.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.